Hey there, I'm Keith Farron, and today we are going to look at the 3 most common ways people read the Bible and how to make those better. Before we get started, in case you and I haven't met, I'm Keith Farron, author, speaker, blogger, storyteller. My passion is helping people move from should to want when it comes to reading the Bible. So if that sounds good to you, then you're going to want to click that little button down there and make sure that you don't miss a video. Today we're looking at the 3 most common ways that people read the Bible. Now, number 1 by far is to read a devotional book with a little section of scripture, a little commentary, some questions and answers at the end. Second most common is the way that I was raised, chapter a day. To pick a chapter of the Bible, work your way through the Gospels or Paul's writings, New Testament, the whole Bible, whatever, and read a chapter a day. Think about what it means, how it applies. Third is, for people that want a really big challenge, is to tackle the 1-year Bible reading plan, where you read through the entire Bible in a year. And someone's coming, so I'm going to pause it right now. The reason why I believe that these 3 might not be the best, or at least not the best place to start, has to do with how your brain is wired, how God has wired our brains to work. Now, if you think about a book that you enjoyed reading, I'm guessing that you didn't read a page a day, or certainly not half a page or a third of a page. You sat down and you read a chapter, 2 chapters. You read for an hour, you read for 2 hours. Well, God has wired our brains to take about 10 minutes before we naturally kick into what I call the storytelling mode. You know, that mode where you start to see the characters, see the scenery, hear their voices, smell the smells, all that kind of stuff. We do that naturally, but we do that when we read more. Now think about that in relation to what I was just saying about the 3 most common ways that people read the Bible. Well, to read the average section of scripture in a devotional book will take you about 30 seconds to read. The average chapter of scripture will take you about 4 minutes. And the average daily reading in a 1-year Bible reading plan will take you between 11 and 12 minutes. Did you catch that? Most people who read the Bible regularly, one of these 3 ways, never actually get to the place where their brain would start to enjoy what they're reading. They just simply quit too early. And the ones who do make it to that 10-minute mark, quit within a minute or 2. So what do? Well, just simply shift your mindset from reading for an amount of content to reading for an amount of time. When I ask people how much time they can give, most people give me one of 3 answers: 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes. So pick one of those. Let's pick the middle one. Let's not even pick the long one. If you read for 20 minutes, when you read for 20 minutes, your brain will kick in. You'll start to enjoy what you're reading, and you'll remember what you read. So if you read for 20 minutes, then just finish the chapter that you're on and put a bookmark in it. The next day you pick up. It actually doesn't take, if you've read for 20 minutes one day, it doesn't take the full 10 minutes for you to kick in, your brain to kick into that storytelling mode. So the next day, you'll actually be kicked into that 2 to 3 minutes in. You'll read for 20 minutes. And each day, that'll get better and better and better. Here's an analogy that I use that might make this whole thing make sense. That is the analogy of watching a movie and then studying the scenes versus studying the scenes of a movie you've never watched. Well, if you watch a movie 5 or 10 times, you can have an in-depth and enjoyable conversation about one aspect of that movie, one scene, one character, one plot twist, the cinematography, the musical score. You can have those kinds of conversations, but they are more fun because you've watched the movie. Now, think of studying the scenes of a movie that you've never watched. Well, the only option you have is to have a very academic, kind of heady conversation about that and be very analytical in nature because you don't know the story. Well, sadly, many of us study the Bible like we're studying the scenes of a movie we've never watched. So if you've been struggling to enjoy the Bible or even understand or remember what you read, then maybe it's time that you watch the movie first. Take a bigger book of the Bible. Take one of the Gospels, take the book of Acts, take the book of Genesis, and just set aside 20 minutes. Read it, finish the chapter that you're in, put a bookmark in it, and the next day start again. After you've watched the movie a few times, then maybe it's time to do a devotional book that dives deep into one person or one aspect of that book, or to read a chapter a day and work your way slowly through it. You'll find that watching the movie before you study the scenes, now that's the way to enjoy the Bible.